Back live at Pocono, where the track drawing is continuing, and we're just moments away from the restart of this event. The sun is out, and the spectators are continuing to be very, very enthusiastic. They've been waving at our cameras all afternoon, and this 95-plus minute rain delay has not dampened their enthusiasm whatsoever. They are just going crazy, and as we pan along the crowd, you can see how excited they are about the thing restarting here in just a few moments. You can also notice the improvements. Some of the improvements are very obvious in the grandstand area and the suites there on top of the main grandstand, and some of the improvements that have been made here at Pocono just in the last 11 months since we have been here. For those of you who have tuned in to see Davis Cup tennis, because of the rain delay, we are not going to be able to show that to you this afternoon. We will continue with our live coverage of this event and stay with it until its conclusion. Again, we have 62 laps to go. Here's Jerry.
Well, Bob, there aren't many super speedways where cars can actually rub and bump and shove a little bit. We saw some of the Ernie Irvin, Dale Earnhardt paint exchange, and here is Derek Cope's car. Now, this is a 2.5-mile super speedway that acts like a short track and also acts like a road course. Take a look at some of the tire marks on the side of this Pure Later Chevrolet. Derek Cope had a great qualifying run, qualified 6th, currently sits in 11th spot. And Derek, you've struggled early in the year, but the team really coming together. This run today, probably your best of the season thus far.
It really is, Jerry. You know, Buddy and the guys have worked hard, and I know Lloyd McCleary and Rick Boney back at the shop have worked real hard with the motor program and got a good combination today in the Pure Later Chevrolet, and hopefully we can keep it up front and get it on a positive trend.
Have you struggled just a little bit getting off the corners?
Just a little bit. You know, we're just a little bit weak off the corners, and I make it up at the other end. I pull them back in at the other end, but it's kind of a cat and mice game, give and take a little bit. But hopefully we can hustle it this last little bit and get it up front and, see where we shake out.
Derek Cope, the 1990 Daytona 500 winner, currently sits 11th here. Feels like he still has plenty of horsepower here in this Pure Later Chevrolet to get a top 10 and maybe even a top 5 finish.
Derek waits in his car, as do the rest of the Winston Cup drivers, anticipating the order momentarily to refire the engines and getting this race resumed. Ned, I think that we have joked a lot about Jimmy Spencer and the fact that he wishes that it would have rained and he would have been able to win this race. But on the other hand, I would suspect that when Jimmy Spencer wins his first race and does it without a rain delay, he's going to say, I'm glad it happened this way rather than the way it would have happened today.
I think you're right, because Travis Carter, when they did an interview with him on their decision to just gas and go, which put him up front, Travis said that they had about a 16th or 17th place car. We'll not talk too loud because we don't want to wake Schrader up there. But, yeah, they would rather win it by running out front and taking the lead from someone else running at full speed rather than this way. But they'll take them however they can get them. But you're right. I think when they win that first one, they say, hey, this is really the way we wanted to do it.
Schrader looked like he was pretty relaxed there.
He's about as laid back as anyone that you can see. He reminds me a great deal of Neil Bonnet in that respect. Neil, he could just crawl up and go to sleep anywhere around the garage area, regardless of how much noise was going on around there.
And Jerry is caught up with Jeff Bodine.
Well, Jeff's still sitting in the Budweiser car, and they've just told him to fire him up here, so we'll let Jeff get all hooked up. And what I was going to do was ask him about how the ribs were feeling, and he just had been told to get buckled up. What I will tell you is that the belt we saw him wear last week at Sonoma did its job to protect those broken ribs in the right side, but they had a problem with it. As he gives you the high sign, all the fans at home watching him suit up here in this Budweiser Ford. They're hooking up some of the vent, and this is a fresh air system with the special helmet they have here, the Simpson helmet. This hose here bringing fresh air so that he can breathe and try to eliminate some of the carbon monoxide problems you see here behind the car. And they try to make sure these cars are extremely safe for the drivers. NASCAR allowing these kinds of systems to work. Gives us a thumbs up there. But the one problem Jeff Bodine experienced last week and they were concerned about here was that belt he wore out at Sears Point created some numbness down in his right arm. As he would lean against the side of that belt, it would cause a compression underneath some of the nerves here underneath his shoulder and up under the arm and cause numbness down the right arm. Now, we put some padding in that this week and tried to pad the upper part of that little belt he was wearing, sort of a flak jacket like some of the NFL quarterbacks wear, and apparently he just told me a minute ago it's doing its job. Everything going okay here for the Budweiser car. We're going to move off pit road because they're going to roll these cars off and go back to racing here pretty soon, guys.
Thanks very much, Jerry, and Jeff Bodine will restart this race in 15th position. So the cars have been refired on pit road now. They're going to warm up their engines just a little bit and then move on to the racetrack. As a matter of fact, they're moving onto the track right now as we get set to restart the Champion Spark Plug 500.